And so going again for a second time, of course, you know, if you do something for somebody, you say thank you. It's one way of also asking for more. Oliver Twist theory. You know, so he may not have, you know, appreciated what the man did for him before. And so going again for the second time, the man openly and blatantly told him, I'm not going to render whatever, so whether financial or reaching out to people in those states to talk to, I won't do that. And now he started accusing Nyesom Wike. If he knew that Nyesom Wike's cousin was there, why did he go? If he knew that. Right. So it's a very simple matter. Edo people voted for their own interest.
But in Rivers State APC, you stand with Chizzy and APC generally, because that is what APC Rivers State is accusing. They're accusing the governor of meddling in
but that's what he's
issues.
doing. That's what he's doing.
And you're of the opinion that Justice Obamanu in the first instance should have recused himself from the matter.
That's what he should have done. Knowing the intricacies in that matter, he should have, at least to protect his own professional interest. He should have excuse him. That's exactly.
Why would he recuse himself? Is his brother? Is his brother in this instance a member of the party?
The brother is a known.
That the brother is a member of the party.
The brother is known interloper in this whole thing.
You cannot accuse the governor in this instance, and you cannot say the justice in this or the judge in this instance should recuse himself. Fubara is not a member of APC.
Fubara, you can see the role that Emeka Beke and his own faction played in the just concluded local government election. They were even given chances in that election. You understand? Emeka Beke was in almost all the APP and the local government election programs. He attended. He was very vocal in support of that election. They even, in recompense, gave them some slots. So it's a very simple thing.
All right, very well. Chizzy, in your final statement before we move over to Edo State, you are still standing by your initial accusation that you see the handwriting of the governor all over this judgment.
I know, because Emeka is, the governor is paying Emeka salary, so I know. So it's not
you
like...
can't be saying the governor is paying Emeka salary.
Am I not on national television?
Can you substantiate that allegation?
Am I not on national television?
Can you substantiate that?
You know, I'm saying something they can take me to court. That's why I'm saying, I'm not quoting you. I'm saying this is what I say. Now, Chizzy or Masla is saying that. So the maker can take me to court and we'll begin to deal with it. At that point, I don't want to give you my secret. Let's go to that place.
All right, moving on to Edo State. Brewing constitutional crisis in Edo State took a dramatic turn on Monday as Governor Monday Okpebholo and the Edo State House of Assembly doubled down on their suspension of all 18 local government chairmen, defying a High Court order reversing the suspension and prohibiting further interference in local government affairs. Justice Efe Igbowomba of the Edo High Court issued a mandatory injunction on Friday declaring the suspension null and void and restraining the state government and other parties from meddling in local government operations until the substantive case is heard. However, state officials have flagrantly disregarded this ruling. The state government's defense has extended beyond local disputes to openly contradicting statements from the Attorney General of the Federation, Chief Lateef Fagbemi SAN. The AGF recently affirmed that only local councillors, not governors or state assemblies, hold the constitutional authority to suspend or remove elected government officials. The governor's spokesperson, Fred Etwa, echoed this defense in a scathing statement aimed at the Supreme Court. He said, the decisions by the Edo State House of Assembly vis-a-vis the governor of the state, Senator Monday Okpebholo, are entirely justified. It is essential to note that the Apex Court is both a court of law and a policy court. And while it has the power to make policy decisions, it cannot exercise this power when the Constitution is clear on a matter. It was doubled down further, stating, the House of Assembly has the powers to oversight the activities of the governor, and similarly, the governor has the right to exercise oversight over local government chairmen. The current constitutional construct recognizes a two-tier federal design. It is clearly stipulated in the Constitution. Ose Aneni described the unfolding events as a shocking rebellion against the rule of law and the president's authority. He said, as a Niger Delta man, I commend President Tinubu's bold strides towards restructuring, particularly his efforts to strengthen local government autonomy. And then he said, it is bewildering to see an APC governor, one of his own, leading this insurrection against both the judiciary and the presidency. How can a state openly defy a Supreme Court ruling, dismiss the Attorney General's directives, and undermine the president's flagship policy? This is an unexplainable affront, not just to the rule of law, but to the president's leadership. The governor's dance steps, or should I say missteps, indicates that there is clearly a drummer hiding in the bushes with an agenda different from the president's. And then he warned of the dangers posed by such blatant insubordination. He further said, the Edo state government is setting a dangerous precedent. When elected officials decide which court orders to obey and which to ignore, we edge closer to anarchy. I appeal to President Tinubu, Chief Fwabemi, the security forces, and even the judiciary to intervene before this crisis spirals out of control. The words and actions of Edo officials are already stoking tensions that could lead to a breakdown of law and order. Meanwhile, suspected talks on Monday prevented Tom Obaseki, chairman of Oredo local government area in Edo State, from accessing his office at the secretariat. The men wielding cutgirls and other weapons were seen at strategic places at the Oredo local government area secretariat in Benin City. They also chanted war songs at the secretariats as the crowd formed. Obaseki said the hoodlums hindered him from going about his task. He also called on security agencies to wade in and forestall a reoccurrence. Chizi, what do you make of this development in Edo State?
You know, it is an unfortunate development and somehow also fortunate. Unfortunate in the sense that I have discussed here previously that, well, the Supreme Court has explained to us what is the constitutional provision for us now that we have a three-tier government, and that means that the only people that has right to remove the chairman are the councillors. And of course, even though they are the creation, somebody did argue one of those days that, I mean, after all, they are the creation of the state government. And I said, okay, but the state is also a creation of the
local government is a creation of the state.
Federal.
Local government is a creation of the state by the law, you know, that they create, not that they created them. What I mean by creation of, like the guy was arguing that can a local government be a state in a state? And I asked the president, would the state be a state in the nation? Even though it is the law that guides the state is made by the National Assembly. That's what I mean by that. And also the same thing that the law that guides these people is also made by the state as regarding the local government. But yet that law also gives us separation of power. No wonder we have the councillors as, you know, as legislators to that district. But I say it's unfortunate because they are doing it. We have also argued. But fortunate also because it's all of this crisis is trying to redefine for all of us. They've gone to the High Court, and like I said the other day, the High Court in Edo sat in Edo and gave a ruling that is seemingly against the state governor. That cannot happen in Rivers State. That's why we are saying that Rivers State people should take a cue and stand for justice. But for these people, I ask that there should be peace. They should go ahead to Court of Appeal, and of course it will go to Supreme Court. And of course those people will redefine it. If there's anything that the governor has done that is not constitutional, they are bringing one other thing that the decision of the Supreme Court cannot. Of course, the decision of the Supreme Court comes where there's a lacuna. They actually interpret the Constitution, and where there's a lacuna in the Constitution, they fill in by their policies. And so I'm sure that the juries do have that constitutional thing to be able to see what is not constitutional and then do it. And so if they had come out seeing the Constitution, because they're a constitutional court, the Supreme Court is also a constitutional court. So if they had seen the Constitution and have said, look, these people, you cannot dissolve these persons, there won't be any caretaker in the local government, they allow these people to do their distance. When they say oversight function, and I ask, what is an oversight function in the first instance? Oversight function is supervisory in nature. It's not like you come to do, like you can, the president has an oversight function in Rivers State. There are things that will happen in Rivers State, the president will wait in. For instance, if there's a state of emergency in Rivers State, the president will nominate somebody, isn't it? If we do not have legislators, the National Assembly will come and take over in Rivers State. That's an oversight function. But that is if those people are not there That's an oversight function. An oversight function does not mean that you have to take over the function of a legitimate people. So for now, we are waiting for the court, the higher courts, to explain more. I'm sure that they will go to Court of Appeal, and the Court of Appeal will tell us, and then the Supreme Court, of course, will rule on what they have ruled. And so we're waiting. It's going to actually teach all of us what is happening. It's further going to, bring down these 3 tiers to a certain level.
But when the governor spokesperson, Freddy Toa, was speaking, he was saying that constitutionally it is 2 tiers of government. That was what he was saying. That it is that the constitution has provided for 2 tiers of government and not 3 tiers of government. One would wonder, politicians, well, you're a politician, so I will still ask that question. Politicians, is it that when the constitution doesn't go in their favor, they turn it upside down and speak authoritatively like what they're saying is the truth?
Okay, that's not what happens to politicians, so that we are not accusing all of us. Some persons might. In a bigger house, we have men of honor, we have men of dishonor. People can stand up to say what they want to say. But I can tell you here that in Nigeria, we have 3 tiers of government. And the Supreme Court, even if it was between 2, and the Supreme Court has said, no, this, by definition, this is 3 tiers. That's why that's the lacuna I'm talking about in the Constitution. If the Constitution has not expressly provided for a 3 tier, that means that the Constitution has given the Supreme Court, and that's their right, to say, look, this is the 3 tier. So, but I said, they are growing. It's graduating. We are graduating from the High Court to Court of Appeal. We're going to look at it, and it's going to unfold a very fantastic drama that all of us will now learn. Because when the court gives a final ruling, then you will now learn.
All right, very well. Akume, what do you make of this story?
Yeah, what I think about this matter is there has been this issue of lacuna that he has talked about for a very long time. The local government has been a third tier of government, just on a mere, not even
ceremonial.
It's just ceremonial, because the Constitution has never provided that explicit provision for those legislators at the local level to actually make laws that even guides and controls the administration of the local government.
No, hold on, no. The Constitution actually provides for that. Now, what happens is the councillors of local governments, they make laws for the day-to-day running of the local government.
I understand the
laws like market laws
all
and all
bylaws.
that.
Yes. Those are bylaws of that government. But the operation of the local government, as it were, is majorly resident in the state assembly. And that is the reason why Edo State governor is still insisting, because that decision was taken by the assembly, and they empowered the governor to do what he did. And so until this decision of the Supreme Court is actually formally amended in the Constitution, a lot of persons will be looking at it from this perspective. So I think that the National Assembly has a duty to play in this regard. They should quickly that how do I put it? The issues that have been reported to them, if these issues are issues that, based on the laws of the local government, the rules of the local government, the assembly, if there are issues that could lead to suspension of those local government chairmen, they will empower the governor to so do. They cannot explicitly impeach. They don't impeach. That's why you've not heard anywhere that local government chairman have been impeached.
They are saying that their local government law empowers them. I think they said Edo State local government
to suspend.
Good. However, if it is in clear aberration of the Constitution, why would they? The question is, if the law of a state or the law promulgated by the State House of Assembly is in clear contradiction of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, should that law take effect?
There is no how a state assembly will even make a law that will be in clear contradiction with the grand norm. It's not possible. That is the reason why I'm saying that this judgment of the Supreme Court and this local government autonomy that the president just tried to work on, they should put it on paper. That section of that constitution should be explicitly amended so that there be clarity. There is no clarity. The ambiguity is
and go back and quote that this is what has been amended in so and so section.
No, that should be. I think the process is on. And I'm hopeful that those areas, those great areas, will definitely be amended in the next.
When you say the process is on now, that falls back to the National Assembly. And Chizi, I will ask you this question: considering the fact that, I mean, these are local government autonomy, even though it was a very controversial one, you know, it has been passed. And when the Supreme Court judgment came, he said it is to take effect immediately. Now, considering all that, yes, there are amendments that needs to be done by the National Assembly. Why has the National Assembly been foot dragging? Considering the speed with which they passed the national anthem law and the speed with, I mean, I can go on and on and on and tell you the laws that, considering the fact that the budget has scaled second reading within a space of 2-3 days, why is National Assembly foot dragging in this one?
Well, let me state this. I study political science, and I understand that I'm yet to know one thing I want to bring out now. You see, we know that as human beings, there is no time we'll have a perfect law. And so it will be gradual. There will be laws that will be coming on a daily basis. That is because of the you know, well, let's say the vagaries of the human life, the frailty of man, things changes. Now, but when there is a lacuna, that is why I said what the Constitution gave the state is to make operational law for the local government, meaning that this is how you are going to be operating. You understand? No wonder we have the councillors. They didn't give them the right, so what they did is to appropriate to themselves the power to suspend. If you have the power to suspend a man, you could have as well have taken the power to impeach, because they are the same thing. So when the Supreme Court came to make judgment, when the Supreme Court came up with a judgment, and that judgment will be based on that it is not expressly written in the Constitution, right? So the Supreme Court will now come and interpret for us what that thing meant, to say that that thing they gave you does not include this. Do you understand that? So that's what the Supreme Court has done. And so even the National Assembly, you know, in making this kind of law, the law that has to, there are laws that the National Assembly can sit without the State House of Assembly. This kind of law, the National Assembly will sit, and then it will be agreed by the 2/3 or 1/3, I mean 2/3 of the House of Assembly of Nigeria. So it is not something that you rush like your budget. Your budget is your exclusive right. You do it around yourself. In this other field, I think what they want to do is, you know, I can also blame the National Assembly, because since 1999, we've been having constitutional, they want to say every time they set up constitutional reform, you know, committee headed by the Deputy Senate President, you know, every time. And of course, when you take up a constitution and it expires in 4 years, they start a new thing, a new process, but money are budgeted. So I'm asking the National Assembly to speed action, to do things that will, especially as had to do with this local government autonomy, to define it correctly. Look, this is not, so that we'll have, because local government is supposed to be a learning process, you know, where we will graduate. I wish that even there's a law that says that before you get to certain legislative, like the assembly and all of that, you would have gone through the rudiments of the local government. So you learn legislation, so you're not going there as a new person, you know. So I would have thought that. So right now, I think, like I said, the court is also going to rule. They are all watching. All of these are contradictions that if they fall in.
Now, that even brings me, because this last statement you just made about persons, before they enter into the legislative arm, they need to go through a proper orientation and education on what expectations are.
Yeah, sure.
Now, that brings me to bear. I'm just thinking, is it that politicians, how smart are they? Because now I'm looking at the local government chairman. Yes, they are. This is battle of survival for them right now. I'm not even looking at the political undertone to this whole thing, but I'm looking at enforcement of rights. You know, now the argument is that the councillors are the ones that have the power to impeach, because I am questioning how you suspend an elected. I mean, it's caretaker chairman that can be suspended, but an elected you can't suspend, but to impeach. But in this instance, the Edo State House of Assembly have gone ahead to suspend these people and still defy court judgment together with the governor, insisting that their suspension remains. Now, isn't this the point where, okay, the councillors will now come together and take the Edo State House Assembly to court?
That is the point.
For overreaching.
Lorisia,
You understand?
Yeah.
Now, the question is it that Edo State, that's why I keep wondering, is it that politicians don't know the law, or they are not so smart, or the people advising them are not very smart and, you know, properly well-oriented? Because as if I were a local government chairman, probably I would have my councillors go to court. Why usurp the powers of the councillors?
Now, let me tell you something, Lorisia. That's why I said what is happening is very nice for us. It's trying to teach us something. What had happened in Rivers State is also an opening. The National Assembly brought out a law that will give the State Assembly independence, autonomy. And this law must be accepted by the State Assembly. Somebody saying, I'm giving you autonomy. So that you have your budget straight and do whatever you want. It was the same State Assembly that rejected it. And I will tell you why. The same thing that is happening in the council. I did say one time, I don't know, radio or anywhere, I did say something, that the councillors are, you see why some persons, very qualified persons who don't want to go as councillors, the councillors are the councillor will go and wait for chairman in his gate. You'll be shocked that even this chairman, these councillors are happy that this chairman are suspended because they are boys. In fact, it's very difficult. It is easier for you to see a local government chairman than for a councillor to see a local government chairman. I'm telling you the way it is. Because they don't just know they are right. Because sometimes these people are
to even first, majority of those National Assembly members are former governors who stood against local government autonomy. And governors are the ones who nominate candidates for National Assembly. And so it will be difficult for the National Assembly to take immediate decision on this issue of local government autonomy. And because of that, the governors are there wielding enough influence, spending so much, have enough on the little allocation and the use of the local government allocation. They would want to weaken the local government areas so that every resources of that local government is controlled by them. And so in doing this, they will do everything to stifle whatever it is to make that local government autonomy come to fruition. And that also brings the issue of councillors. When the chairmen are weakened, they will want to exacerbate their influence, their power, do whatever with just the councillors. That's the only place they have the power to show muscle. So they do everything to weaken the councillors. And so bringing up a councillor, they will not just watch everywhere, not only in River State. You can never see a councillor, like he said, that knows what he wants to do. They only pick those ones that they know that these ones are weak last. They cannot do anything. You come and go for council. So when they get there, you don't say anything. Whatever the chairman does,
just do the bidding.
He just said what I had wanted to say. No councillor has direct access to their local government chairman. How will you even have access? You're afraid to even talk to your chairman. Because if you talk anything, they will stop your salary and nobody says anything. Have you heard where leaders of local government make any noise? They don't say anything. The budgets are brought by the chairman. They don't do it. They just sit there. They just say that ends it. By right, local government legislators are supposed to be having their own money to run the affairs of the legislator, but they don't have. That's why you see a chairman can buy car for councillor, and you brag I bought a car. Is a chairman supposed to buy car for a councillor? They're not supposed to do that. At every appropriation, there should be provision for all those things for the local government, which is be controlled by the leadership of the legislature. And so the leader decides how they take a decision on how to run that, but it is not done anywhere in Nigeria. And so the process is just from the governors. They weaken all these processes to make themselves, assert themselves as the authentic leadership of whatever you think. Even in party, governors control parties. God, they will tell you that they are funding the party. They decide to change the national chairman, they decide to change anything. They are very powerful. And so until the National Assembly sits up to make these laws the way they should be and separate the governors from up till now. Do you know that the governors are still running on jack? The local governments still go to the state to collect their money. They have not created their own, they have not submitted their own account. They don't pay them directly up till as I speak with you. So it's a very big issue. And I think that the National Assembly owes Nigerians this duty to stand to their responsibility and pass this bill.
Now, to a large extent, you have, when you say National Assembly, on one hand, have this duty to pass this bill. On the other hand, the same National Assembly, some of them have interest in running for another tenure. And then the same governors will determine whether they will survive it or not.
Lawrence,
because that's the picture Mefle is painting. And if that is the true picture, then probably, I don't know. Just go ahead.
Now, let me tell you. Those were those who felt that they wanted to run for election and went to run election and won their election. But Obasanjo spoiled this also. Let me tell you, in 1999, when Obasanjo came in on board, he knew that because Obasanjo was not a member of those who formed the PDP, he was not part of the he was not a politician, he didn't form the PDP. He knew that those senators and assembly members that came on their own, like Chuba Cannibals, like the Jordan Batas. In fact, in Rivers State, the governor shouldn't control Jordan Bata because Jordan Bata was supposed to be the governor, and it was just a negotiation. Let's take this seat here, or you go for Senate. So it wasn't those who went for Senate. You knew that they had quality. They went to Senate, and so when they got to Senate, Papa still knew that those senators were strong for him, and so the only way to control those senators was to raise the governor. He raised the governor. So Obasanjo just tried to give him more powers to the governors, especially it has to do with party nominations, especially it has to do with nomination of the ministers, right? And so, you know, those who pays the piper dictates the tune. As soon as that power started ceding to the governor because of what Obasanjo was doing, so every nomination was going to the governor, everything was going to the governor. He started weakening the National Assembly. And so he saw that the National Assembly leadership weren't stable then. They started decimating them. Every day you change leadership. The other one changed leadership here. All that was just to weaken the National Assembly. And so after that, the next time, the National Assembly was already weak. Because those who brought the senators and the House of Reps became the governors. It was not the who brought everybody who wanted to be senators and House of Reps. When Amechi came, he brought everybody. Wike also sent everybody in this place. And so when I sent you to the place, it looks like I'm even doing you a favor, sending you. See, as I talk with you.
So your job, the job now, from what you're now saying, if I understand you clearly, it appears that the National Assembly, according to your explanation, their job now is to protect the interest of the governors, and not the people.
Yes, but the only thing now is that, you see, one thing I like about nature, it has a way of paying you back what you did. Now you were governor, today you're a senator. And then they want to cede that power to a governor, wherein that power was supposed to be yours. Now the question is, you need to, I think the National Assembly should own themselves. They should be able to breathe by themselves and become National Assembly. Now we have more governors in the National Assembly who will never be governors again. You have to just be yourself. If not, you won't go. If not, you won't go. You won't go back. And that is going to be bad for our list. Check. Even on all of these palliatives that you are seeing, how many of the senators are bringing palliatives? How many of the House of Reps are bringing palliatives? They don't even know them. What they're looking at is the local government chairman and the governor.
But right, when you look at political protocol, the senators are higher than the governors. But today we respect the governors more than the senators.
Interesting.
The same way we respect the local government chairman more than even the assembly.
Interesting. Very well. Thank you so much, Chizzy, for coming on Open Conversation. It's always a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
And this Christmas card fits you, by the way. And thank you so much, Akunifule. It's a pleasure having you today.
Thank you, Laurentia.
I enjoyed the show. Indeed, I did. And I trust it was a very good show for our audience who took out their time this Christmas Day to follow us. Thank you so much for always watching and staying connected to Open Conversation. We're open for advert placements, bookings, and commercials. You can connect with us on all our ATN socials: Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network; Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1; and on Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. Do not forget, peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you for watching. I am Laurentia. Transition news comes up next. Do not go away. Merry Christmas.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To conduct this act, I purport to get the lead of this minister and the president. Give us access to our money we put in the bank. I've always said there are two sets of people: the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the company. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
From the lands across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories, in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all your updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today.